on the phone and just have him talk us through some of the key things that I think you guys are really going to enjoy. In the meantime, just kind of let you know what we're going to be doing in the show today. Peter's going to tell us a little bit about all of his obvious experiences on the New York Stock Exchange. Then after that, Kathy is going to talk to you about how she understands and develops her whole trading plan using macro, news fundamentals, and technicals, just kind of how she's the macro queen and puts together trade ideas every single day. Then after that, David is going to share all of his amazing tips and tricks. And just for you guys who don't know David was a market maker. David, what you were with? I forgot. You told me you were like with a huge market making firm. What was the firm that you were with?
Yeah, well, I was with several. I was lucky enough back then to, when I started working on the Florida Stock Exchange, there were 55 specialist firms.
Right.
When I left at the end of 1999, when I retired, there were 7. So I got taken over like 4 or 5 times during my career by different firms, but I ended up being at the end with the biggest specialist firm, Spear, Leeds and Kellogg. They were the biggest specialist firm. They got bought at the end of 1999 by Goldman Sachs for $6.5 billion. It was the biggest transaction in the history of the New York Stock Exchange. And unfortunately, it didn't work out too good for Goldman Sachs, because by the year 2000, things were starting to become more automated. The specialists became less and less important. And
Peter, is he on?
I have no picture, guys.
Yeah, it's okay. You don't have any video, but we have much cleaner audio on you, right? Can you give me a 1, 2, 3 sound check so I can just make sure I hear you?
Sure. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Peter Tuchman.
Beautiful. All right. You are loud and clear. I'm going to read you any of the questions that people have for you. But in the meantime, we're going to see your wonderful face here on our picture. But please go ahead, start the show. There we have over 400 people in the room here. They're all really interested in hearing what you got to say. And finally, I got you clear audio. So everybody, just in your imagination, Peter is as energetic as you sound. Okay.
I am going to put up a picture of Peter.
Okay, put something good. I am the most photogenic guy on the floor of the stock exchange. Anyway, I'm going to pick it up, guys. It's my honor. I'm Peter Tuchman, the Einstein of Wall Street, to be honored to be here with Boris and Katie and my partner, David Green. I've been on the floor of the stock exchange for 40 years. I'm the longest standing member, still standing, member of the New York Stock Exchange. David Green and I started in March of 1985 together. We both started at the bottom. He was a squad. I was a teletypist. And David ended up becoming a market maker and retiring. He'll tell you his own story. And I'm still on the floor of the stock exchange trading the market. I have a large social media platform, the Einstein of Wall Street. David Green and I have Wall Street Global Trading Academy, which is an academy teaching technical analysis and risk management. So I really want to pick up, because where we are in front of you all right now, the reason we're here and the reason we're all together and where the landscape of markets and education and accessibility and funding are where they are is because of this groundbreaking democratization of the trading and the investing community that happened during COVID. Prior to COVID, you needed to be an accredited investor to trade and invest in the stock market. You had to prove to whatever company, Merrill Lynch, Lehman Brothers, whoever it was, that if you lost 100% of what money you invested in the market, it would have no effect on your standard of living for 5 years. Well, only the 1% of the 1% can ever prove that. During COVID, it was almost like this amazing perfect storm that happened. Robinhood, Webull, all these apps, these free trading apps offering accessibility to the market came around, right? And then we were sheltered in place with COVID. Everybody had a couple shekels in the bank from their stimulus check. And there was all this accessibility. And everybody with an iPhone and $100 could suddenly trade the market. And then you had the meme phenomenon and the roaring kitties and all that crazy wild stuff. And everybody was at home because of COVID, and all eyes were on the stock market. It was just like you were all suddenly invited to my house for a party and that you had never been let into, right? The red rope was open, right? The swimming pool was open. There was 12 shots of tequila on the kitchen counter, and everybody was suddenly welcome. Right now, what ended up happening was David Green and I, who've been friends for 40 years, David has been teaching trading, technical analysis. He's the top technical analysis teacher. I think he's the kind of guy, that professor in college, that you didn't care what he was teaching. You just wanted to hear him talk, right? He is absolutely the best. So the two of us at that time realized that all this accessibility was an incredibly wonderful thing, and we embraced it. However, none of this access, none of these free trading apps had any kind of an educational component to it. So that's why we saw what we saw. I was there when GameStop stopped trading 29 times that day. It went from bankrupt to $2, $20, $483, and back to $150.75. All of this was going on. People were just throwing a dart at a ball. FOMO, hype, hope. That was the strategy that all these 50 million, TD Ameritrade called it 50 million new retail traders suddenly came into the marketplace. And I called it the greatest perfect storm of all time, because suddenly everybody's eyes were on the market. We were in the midst of this wild COVID crash, and now everybody with an iPhone and $100 could suddenly trade the market. David Green and I saw an opportunity. It's all about opportunity. If you talk about Apex, it's infinite opportunities. If you talk about Boris and Kathy, they're all about opportunity, as David and I are. So we saw an opportunity to try and educate, motivate, and inspire these 40, 50 million. I know it's a big undertaking, but there's 50 million new people who came into the market. We did not want them to come in, blow up, go home with little schmurts on their nose, be really angry, hate Wall Street, and never take advantage and never see the opportunities that we see. For me and David Green, every day is like being in the Super Bowl. And I know that's for Kathy and Boris too, because guys, look, we could be, relaxing on the beach somewhere, but we've chosen to spend our lives committed to try and inspire and motivate you all. And that's why we're here tonight. So David Green and I started Wall Street Global Trading Academy. It teaches technical analysis and risk management. We've been doing it for 5 years. We really opened up the world to a way, a strategy, a sustainable strategy on how to trade this market. And what has happened over the last 5 years is amazing. We've never seen a market like this, right? We know what happened during COVID, right? I've lived through every crash. Some people say I was here for this crash at 29. Erroneous on all counts. I was never there. I'm not that old. But I was there for the crash of 87. I've been there for every crash since then. And the bottom line is the market, the situation, the environment right now is absolutely extraordinary. If any of you have been trading for the last 5 years, you know what we've been going through. The crash of COVID.
Pete, tell people quickly that there's no such thing as a crash, only opportunity. If you remember, Pete, when we were in COVID, we were screaming from the rooftops that this is a generational buying opportunity, right?
Correct. So
tell people what to do when markets crash.
The only thing that's been similar in each one of these pullbacks, consolidations, and sell-offs, because we don't really like the word crash, is that before they happened, the markets were trading at record highs. February 12th of 2020, markets across the board were trading at record highs. The bank's balance sheet, the consumer was in amazing shape. Same thing happened during the financial crisis. Before that happened, record highs. Before COVID, record highs. Right? And even in this recent mini crash, which I'm calling the self-inflicted pullback that we had from February 19th to April 19th, this self-inflicted economic Armageddon that was, single-handedly forced by the new administration out there with the whole tariff story. On February 19th, we were once again trading at record highs. Every single thing I could go over for you, 2024, I can go over it in detail. We had 7 pullbacks, consolidations, and sell-offs in 2024. And each one of them, we had one in April. We had one in June, July. We had that crash in August 05 of 2024. We had one in September and November. Ladies and gentlemen, you need to understand that pullbacks, sell-offs, consolidations are nothing more than buying opportunities. Every time the market is sold off, whether it's 20%, 30%, 60%, covering going back to 1929, has been a better buying opportunity than anything else. FOMO, hype, and hope are not sustainable strategies. Technical analysis, and you'll hear from Kathy, fundamental analysis are. And that's why we're here. We want to open up your doors, open up your eyes to the availability, the opportunity that trading in this market in 2025, it is groundbreaking. It is look, what we've seen over the last 5 years is extraordinary, right? That accessibility, the information highway that is available to you all. You've got Kathy and Boris, who have a huge community. You've got me and David Green, a huge community, global. Hopefully some of them are here today, and you've got Apex Trader Funding, also a massive global community. The whole world, look, you know what? Wall Street, New York Stock Exchange is one thing, but the world, the stock market is a global stage, right? And the more we do what we're doing by educating, motivating, and inspiring you all and giving accessibility to the education through Apex, through Boris and Kathy, through Wall Street Global Trading Academy, that is opening up your doors. That is making opportunity available for you all. So we are thrilled that you're all here. This is the greatest time to be alive. I know, I'm sure you've all got friends who are sitting around on the weekends posting pictures on the back of a Bugatti with stacks of $10,000 talking about all that money they made trading the market, la, la, la. That's erroneous, and it's a waste of time. Right now, anybody can have access to the market. If you go through Apex Trader Funding, you can be funded to trade the market, the futures market. If you want to learn how to trade the market, you can come join me and David at Wall Street Global Trading Academy, WSGTA.com. We have an amazing course, 21 videos, 21 hours, 400 hours of archival content. We coach and mentor all our students all over the world every Thursday night. We have a boot camp. It's all about the four of us today, four legends on Wall Street: David Green, former market maker, me, the Einstein of Wall Street, Boris and Kathy with their massive community, talking about getting qualified on Apex, talking about fundamental analysis. We are committed to opening up your eyes, your ears, the doors of opportunity so that you all can now trade this market. From this day forward, never again should you feel that you cannot have accessibility and funding to trade the market in the futures market, or not understand how to trade the market using technical analysis and fundamental analysis. So welcome, everybody. I'm honored to be here. This is the greatest group of all time. This is groundbreaking. This is a phenomenon. This is a revolution going on. What's going on in tech, what's going on in the markets, what's going on with the Federal Reserve, that is all unbelievable. And if you want to be in it and you want to learn, it's at your fingertips with me, David Green, with Kathy and Boris. So I'm just launching this thing off. If anybody needs to reach out to any of us, just if you spend the next hour and change with us, listening to what David offers about what he does, and Kathy and Boris, you will be a 50% better trader. You may leave and never talk to us again. You may come and hang out and become part of the family. I guarantee you one thing: if you just listen to the secrets and the rules that we're about, rules, discipline, consistency, if you listen to us for the next hour, you will be a 50%. I guarantee you that. I'm not guaranteeing you're going to make money, but you will be a 50% better trader just by listening to what the four of us have to tell you for the next hour and change. So I love you all. Welcome, and thank you for having us.
Wow.
Thanks everyone for being with us tonight. That's it.
I think
there's a couple of questions for you before we let you go, but just to let you guys understand.
He's still going to be here.
Sorry?
He's still going to be here. He's not leaving us. But I think Al said it perfectly. The aura of Peter Tuchman is incredible, and I wish you could see it all in person. But, I think today's session tonight is all about insider tips from the trading floor. And as Peter and David, had just talked about, when we were just at record highs in the markets, right, David? I mean, just last week we hit record highs in stocks. So, Peter touched on one of the most important points, which is that, not if, but when we have a market crash, we should all be screaming from, his decades of experience. And he's older than, I think, all of us.
I'm back.
Okay.
Go ahead, Kathy.
So, Peter, to your point about buying crashes, you, David, and I are three people in this room who actually lived through the 87 crash, right? Which I don't know if that's a compliment or not at this point for all of us. But
we're still here, so it's good, Boris.
Still to this day, in my opinion, the most surreal day of my life. And I think anybody who's gone through it probably feels the same way. There was never a day like this ever in the history of the stock market. But here's what people never understand. The day of the stock market crash, the 87 crash, was also the same day of the largest, in percentage terms, rise in the stock market ever. If most people forget that from 11 o'clock to about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, there was a massive rally in the stock market that was 12% from bottom to top, which was the largest rise ever. And that's the irony of the whole thing. The biggest fall day also had the greatest rally inside of it. So there's always an opportunity, as I was trying to say, or as Peter was trying to say. Even on the worst day, there's always an opportunity, and in some ways, it could be the greatest opportunity of your life.
Yeah, I was a clerk on the Florida Stock Exchange during the crash.
Right.
And I have to tell you, it was the greatest day I've ever had in my career down there. You know, as a clerk back in those days, we did not have any electronics. We did not have any computers. We were trading out of paper books where we would have to actually write every single order in a paper book, and for every eighth and quarter of a point. So, and we would have stop orders, and it was not chaotic in any way, shape, or form. It was orderly because of the specialists who were down there that had to make markets and stocks.
Right.
And I think we lost 14 firms that day that couldn't meet margin calls at the end of the day, and they got taken over. But it was orderly. It was not the panic that everybody saw, that they thought they saw was going on out there. The market makers did their jobs. There were some fights, no question about it. There were some fisticuffs going on during the day, but it was, and from that day on, the bottom line is if you were in the market from that day on, you've done nothing but make money. And really since 1929. I remember in April, and then I'll let you guys go. The Sunday night in April, we called an emergency meeting of my trading room. And I think I had like 200 or 300 people there. And this was on a Sunday night. The futures were opening. They were opening at their absolute lows that night.
This April of this year.
April of this year. I think it was April 18th to be exact. Pete will know the exact day. Pete knows the exact day of everything going back 75 years. He knows everything. But we called an emergency meeting that night. And I said, again, guys, this is a generational buying opportunity. And we don't give advice. I don't tell people where to buy and sell stocks. We try to teach people how to do this on their own. But we said to anyone who would listen to me, this is a great place to at least be starting here. And it ended up being the exact bottom. And since that time, you know, I don't know, we're up like 30, 40% since then. So there are no crashes. They're just opportunities. They hurt when they happen. There's no question about that. But, you know, the market has done nothing but go up since it opened 150 years ago.
You know, before you chime in, Boris, I want to ask what I find really interesting is that when we talk to traders is that a lot of traders have only started to trade after COVID, or only started to trade, you know, after President Trump ended his first term. If that's you, please say yes, that you've only started trading after COVID, because there's actually a lot of behavior in the market that happened pre-COVID that all of us, all four of us, are very familiar with, like, you know, the flash crashes that many of you may not have experienced yet. And, you know, they will certainly return. And that is what part of the things that we're going to talk about. So if you have just started trading after COVID and you didn't experience Trump 1.0 or anything before that, let us know in the question so we know, you know, how long you've been in the market. I'm sorry, Boris, I interrupted you.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah, I mean, that's really a very key point. There's a lot of people are asking, by the way, everybody's asking for your links and for all the information about, you know, your community and our community. Guys,
we'll get to that.
But I just want to let you know, everybody chill, because you registered for the webinar, and we're going to be sending you a lot of important information. So don't worry, everything you want, we're going to send you links to all the key information, including Peter's and David's room and our information, and of course, all the information about Apex Traders. So it's all coming to you. Any problems, you can always email us, but don't worry, we're going to be sending you all that information. You don't have to request it. It will be coming your way.
Our goal here tonight is to sell you something, okay? We want to try to give you guys as much useful information as we possibly can.
Exactly.
But that at the end, if anybody's interested.
As far as resources, don't worry. We're going to send you all the resources you need to help you out, and then, you know, then we'll talk a bit more. Today, we're just going to really talk about markets and everything else that's kind of, you know, that kind of drives everything into the world. And speaking of which, I think it's a good time as any now to take you into Kathy's world, which is the world of macro trading, the world of trying to analyze the greatest thing about trading is that you can make money off news, right? We all watch news every single day. We all watch worldwide events. We all watch things around, but the ability to take that information and convert it into actionable trades is something really cool, something that, of course, my partner has been doing for 20 years really well. And today she's going to give you a little bit of a preview of her process and exactly how you could take these ideas off the headlines and actually convert them into tradable ideas in the marketplace, which is something I think everybody's interested in. So I'm going to turn the screen over to you, Kay.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I'm taking a look at this comment box and the question box. I would just say, David, probably 90% of the people who responded to my question have only started trading after COVID. So I think, hopefully you'll take little nibbles of what we're going to share with you today. One of which is that, before COVID, there were a lot of periods where we would have, and I'm sure, Boris, David remember very clearly, even Peter, where we would have, 1,000-point days, and then it would be a flash crash at the last hour of trading, followed by an equally sharp reversal. Many of you have not experienced that at all. But I think, we're living and we're trading in a regime where that can happen at any point in time. We're living and trading in a period where you got a taste of this yesterday, that, breaking news can happen while you're sleeping or while you're having dinner.
I was going to say, you remember the Asia session flash crashes where like at 6 o'clock at night, was it the twilight crashes, where nobody was around, and all of a sudden we'd get like 200-point moves in forex in 1 second. It was crazy.
And let me ask you all, and I'm not going to have you, I'm not going to have you answer this, but what happened last night? I mean, we basically had President Trump come out. I want to share with you my computer screen. Give me 1 second, my other screen. President Trump came out and said that he was going to fire Fed Governor Cook. And let's take a look at the price action. And this is what, one of the tips that I think is very important, what we are all trying to say to you today. I was trading, I trade forex, and David and Boris trade gold and NASDAQ and other indices. But I want you to take a look at this chart here. This is the chart of dollar yen. So dollar yen, when President Trump posted that letter on Truth Social saying that he was going to fire Lisa Cook, dollar yen went crashing lower. Now, normally, you may think, oh my gosh, this is a really big deal. This is a very big news. This is the first time we've had a president, potentially fire a member of the Federal Reserve. This could undermine the credibility and the legitimacy and independence of the Fed itself and monetary policy. I'm going to sell dollars because dollar yen already had a big move. I'm going to sell it. And what happened if you did that? What happened after you sold it? If dollar yen sold off, let's say you tried to sell here. What happened? It basically slapped you in the face and went completely the opposite direction. And this is basically what experience teaches us, which is that you see this in stocks. You also see it in indices. This is ES. And you can see this was when Trump posted that letter saying he's going to fire Lisa Cook. And if you said this is a really big deal, this is means that we're going to get more interest rate cuts because that's what President Trump wants, I'm going to buy stocks. What happens next? It basically slapped you in your face and it went completely a V-shaped lower. So one of the most important lessons, and what I'm trying to say, what David's trying to say, what Peter started off saying, is that when you have these huge when you have an environment where there's a huge amount of panic, don't just buy or sell into that move. Because oftentimes, and Boris, you can elaborate, but oftentimes what happens is that you have the panic buying, you have the panic selling, and then the market just calms down and really realizes what the truth is, which in this case is that we don't know whether or not he has the authority. She is deciding to sue. There's still going to be time before we finally get an outcome. But the whole point is that, what's the best way to describe this? What I'm trying to say is that when you see the bear market, a flash crash, don't jump into it, because oftentimes, if you try to sell into that crash, you're probably selling in the low. Or if you buy into that jump, you may end up buying a high. It'd be much better and sometimes much more fruitful to wait for the dust to settle and then trade what is the real move of the news.
The true trend will show itself in an hour later, and that's actually one of those great takeaways. You're absolutely right. Everybody, including yours truly, I love to jump on the news, and unless you're willing to scalp like I do for 2 or 3 points, you're going to get clipped very badly. If you're trading like Kathy does, which very little less, yesterday I think you can bank like 60 points in dollar yen. I remember you clipped some really nice trades off of that, but it was because she knew exactly when to come in and when to come out. And when you're trading, news, one of the key things you absolutely need to understand and appreciate is that yes, you're going to have these big moves, and if you don't take those profits, they can disappear. And if you actually want to position yourself, it's definitely worth it to wait an hour or two, because the true trend will show itself. Remember, news comes out, it just gets disseminated by the early crowd, and then the rest of the world decides whether it's material or not. And that's where you can really make the big money. And it's exactly the kind of stuff that Kathy works on.
And that is what Boris, and that is the answer to your question, Christian, which is how could you even predicted this? You could not have predicted it, but the biggest tip that we can give you is just wait. You know, have the patience, wait, like Boris said, an hour. The real trends and the real sentiment of the market, how they feel about the news, will make itself apparent within the hour.
Right.
You know, it's hard to guess.
And I'll just chime in one little trading tip here before I turn it over to Kay, which I'm sure she's going to agree with me with, is this is the reason. This is the reason we always trade with a stop. Always trade a stop. I was long 1 minute into that event on NASDAQ, and I got blown out very quickly. And I'm like, oh, what happened? But I wasn't, it didn't hurt me. It was a tiny little loss because I had to stop in. This is the reason you always trade with a stop. At any given time, any given moment, any given market, something can happen that can blow your account to smithereens if you're not trading with a stop. So that's just my little, I'm going to stop my little rant here, but that yesterday was a perfect example of exactly why you always trade with a stop.
Can I add to your rant for 1 second, guys and girls?
Yeah.
I can't, when we start talking about rules and psychology, that is the first thing that we talk about. We are going to have losing trades, guys and girls. Anyone who tells you they don't have losing trades is just plain out lying to you. How you handle your losing trades is how we stay in this business and how we become consistent. I teach all of my traders to use bracket orders on every single trade that they enter. For those who don't know, a bracket order simply sets your stop loss and your profit target. And it really takes the emotion out of trading, which is really what we're trying to do, as hard as that seems to be. I'm sorry, Kathy, go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Everything you say, that both of you said is 100% correct, which is that in this type of environment, especially when some of these news bombs happen at night while you're having dinner or while you're asleep, it is absolutely 100% important to use a stop. There's no excuse for not using a stop. And, you know, I think that this is even more true as we kind of proceed to the next 3 years. But yesterday, you guys all got a taste of the importance of fundamentals, the importance of macro. Boris, David, Peter, and I all specialize in something different. I have been trading basically, you know, trading using fundamentals for the past 20 years. I started my career at JP Morgan Chase. I was their youngest trader hire ever at 18 years old. I started off trading, you know, cross-market correlations and looking at other markets and looking at fundamentals. And even to this day, it is the cornerstone of my trade. And I think that it's become even more important as, you know, the years have passed, because news really moves markets. And this is true for day trades and swing trades.
For those of you who don't speak marketese, I'm going to translate what she just said. She started to trade. She basically looks at how other markets affect the market she's trading. That's what cross-market correlations means. That's the fancy way of saying she just looks at what other markets are telling her about what her particular market, which is forex, could be doing, and that's a very important input. So.
Yeah, and Kathy, let me ask you one question before you go for it. Did we know that this news was coming out at a certain time?
No, not at all.
All right, so
this was a complete news bomb. No, this is an unprecedented event. Nobody could have even forecast this because, you know, I mean, Trump is on, but this is a perfect example of Kathy was saying. If you traded Trump 1, you would have known that this is going to be par for the course. This is not the first and not the last time we're going to be surprised. There are going to be lots of surprises coming. That's the key thing about Trump administration.
Yeah. And my point was, though, there are things that we should be aware of and always be checking our economic calendar, so at least we know when certain things are coming out that we can prepare for. This Friday, we have one of the biggest numbers coming out that the Fed looks at, okay, at the PPI, whatever it's one of the I's, all right? It's going to be mega important. So one of the first things I always look at, and I use tradingeconomics.com, I go to the website and I see what news events are coming out for the day, and I just won't have any orders out around that. So some things we can't prevent. We're going to get Trump for the next 3.5 years, right? But there are some things we can. So everybody should be aware and use some kind of news services. Just go check in the morning and see what's coming out that day, so we don't get caught in something and say, "Oh my God, I didn't know that was going to happen," when we did know something was going to happen.
Fun.
You know what, guys? Can I hop in for one quick?
Sorry,
Can
go
I
Peter.
hop in for one quick second? I just want to address one quick thing while you all were talking about stop orders and how important it is that if you have a stop order on because we do not know when the news is coming out. And 100% David and I work off the premise that you should avail yourself with all the information about PPI, CPI, all that information is necessary to have. But with relative to a stop order, the most important thing is, first of all, every order, this is part of the David Green's 5 Commandments of Love and Trading, is you have a stop order on every order you enter. When we are to ask thousands and thousands throughout the world of day traders, the first thing we do when we have master classes, everybody here using a stop order, and a majority of people will say no. And they'll say, I use a mental stop. First of all, if you use a mental stop order, you are mental. I'm not making a judgment about your mental health, but it's a crazy thing to do. But if you were to ask 90% of day traders why they don't use a stop order, is there's been something that's been touted around the internet for decades, that market makers on the floor of the NYSE see your stop orders and they will take the order, they'll take the market down to your stop order, take you out on your stop order, and then run the stock up. May I just say one thing? I've been trading on the floor for 40 years. David Green was a market maker. That could not be more erroneous. First of all, it's illegal. Secondly, it doesn't happen. Thirdly, it's absolutely insane to think that, no disrespect to your retail order, whether it's 1,000 shares, 100 shares, or 1 million shares. Market makers are judged on their P&L. They are not going to be worried about a stop order. They're there to try and make money, buy low and sell high. So I promise you all, don't ever think that there's some kind of espionage or some kind of malevolent thing going on, that market makers are trying to screw the retail person. That is erroneous. Use a stop order. I beg of you, go for it. Sorry, guys.
All right, so I'm going to walk you through my process, then David is going to do the same, and then Boris will do the same, and Peter will chime in with his wisdom as he sees fits. So I said that, my trading strategy involves trading with fundamentals and looking at the big stories and basically trying to figure out how those big stories can turn into trading opportunities. And there's certain things that, I think is important to share with you, so that, can help you think the same way that I do. So first off, taking a step back, when it comes to trading fundamentals, I always define and look at everything in terms of the 3 M's, which is macro, micro, and monetary policy. Every single thing in fundamentals filters into one of these 3 buckets. And this is true whether you're trading, forex, gold, indices, NASDAQ, ES, whatever it is. These 3 things will impact the instruments that you trade. For the US more than other countries, if you're not trading forex, but if you're trading forex, we have to look at each one of these. So when it comes to macro is really the big stories, what we just talked about, the tariffs, the bird flu, COVID, wars, Ukraine. Those are things that make the front page news and not the business news. These are the things that dictate how stocks as well as currencies and treasuries and commodities move for not days at a time, but weeks and months at a time. And so these are the ones where, if the Federal Reserve is, actually, we'll talk about the Federal Reserve later, but if that tariffs are coming and the rest of the world is being hit with tariffs, the US is basically unleashing the tariffs on them, their businesses are going to be crunched to sell to Americans, and their profit losses are going to decline, then maybe those currencies like Switzerland, for example, that was hit with almost 50% tariffs, may actually see the Swiss franc weaken against the other major currencies because they have one of the highest tariffs in the world. So that's macro. These things do not change day by day. These things dictate how an economy or a country or the market will move for weeks and months at a time. Micro is day-to-day economic data. David just said this week we have the PCE deflator. Next Friday, we have the U.S. non-farm payrolls report. And non-farm payrolls is hands down one of the most market-moving pieces of data for all instruments that we trade. So if you're trading gold, if you're trading NASDAQ, if you're trading dollar, if you're trading oil, the non-farm payrolls report is going to affect what you trade. And so, when I go through my trading process, I will have an opinion about non-farm payrolls, for example. We know that the last non-farm payrolls report was pretty horrid. We know the jobless claims reports were pretty weak. So I'm going to be looking to sell dollars going into next week's non-farm payrolls. And so that creates like an overall fundamental view for me. And then I'll be overweighting opportunities to sell dollars and then thinking twice when I have my technical setup telling me that, you know, there are some long dollar trades. So that's how I weave macro and micro. Now, as David said, one of the things about micro is that if you have no idea what's going on and you know that the PCE is coming out this Friday, non-farm payroll is coming out next Friday, don't trade that day or trade after the report. Don't trade ahead 5 minutes ahead of the report. Don't have a big position going into the report. Even if you think fundamentals is just, you know, nonsense. Minimally, you should check the calendar and not let a big event sabotage your trade. So it's very important, regardless of whether you want to learn how to weave in the bigger story and try to pick trades with higher probability by being in sync with the fundamentals, or you say, I can't wrap my head around it, but minimally, I'm not going to expose myself and hold big dollar positions ahead of non-farm payrolls or the Federal Reserve September interest rate decision. So the third M is monetary policy. Now, monetary policy is probably single-handedly the most important thing that drives all a market flow. It's not about where interest rates are at right now. It's about where interest rates are headed and who's cutting interest rates, raising interest rates faster or slower than the other. So in this type of environment, for example, we have had many other central banks cut interest rates quite a bit this year, including the European Central Bank, the Bank of England, many central banks have cut interest rates. One of the ones that have not is, guess who? The Federal Reserve. It's almost hard to believe that the Federal Reserve has not cut interest rates at all this year and are expected to deliver their first of many interest rate cuts next month. So this creates a little bit of a divergence where some of these central banks are ending their rate cut cycle. The Federal Reserve is just beginning. And this divergence where they're moving in opposite directions is opportunity. And for my forex traders in the room, you may or may not know that if the ECB is almost done and the Federal Reserve is just getting started with cutting interest rates, all of that suggests that we could see further losses in the US dollar and further gains in the euro. So my process always involves starting with the 3 M's. It also involves understanding, kind of some of the dynamics in the markets, which is that when we have the markets rallying and investors, that means investors are optimistic. That means that risk appetite is strong. For those of you that like to trade forex or gold, when we have stocks doing well, investors are optimistic and risk appetite is strong. As a rule of thumb, and you guys will get the slide, the risk on instruments will perform well, meaning that if stocks are rallying, investors are feeling good, and risk appetite is strong, Euro, Pound, Aussie, Kiwi, CAD will tend to do well. Gold, Japanese yen, US dollar, the Swiss franc will tend to weaken or fall in value. So what this means is that when I'm starting my day and I see stock futures up 300 points, which is a lot, but let's say stock futures are up 300 points, and that tells me that it's a risk on day. If it's a risk on day, I will be either looking for opportunities to sell gold, or if my trading setup is telling me to buy gold, I'm gonna think, maybe I won't take that trade, or I'll take a smaller position because the market is pro risk, and so I only want to be looking for opportunities to sell gold and not buy gold. So the other thing to know when it comes to weaving in fundamentals and market sentiment is that when stocks are falling, investors are nervous, risk appetite is weak. What should you be doing? You should be looking to sell euro, British pound, Australian, New Zealand dollars. You should be looking to buy gold, buy dollar, buy safe haven currencies like the Japanese yen and the Swiss franc. So it's very important to not only know the big story, but also to take into consideration what the general sentiment in the market is. So to put this in practical terms, because this is probably going to happen soon, if I am waking up, I turn on my trading screen and I see Dow futures down 300 points, I'm not going to be looking to sell gold. I'm looking to buy gold, buy dollars, sell euro, sell pound, sell Aussie. And I'm going to be leaning more into my technical setups that tell me to do this. So this is my process every single day. The first step I do is I look at what are stocks doing? What is the market sentiment? What are people feeling? Because as much as the bigger story and fundamentals is important, how people feel today when I'm trading is also very important. And this chart illustrates why that is important, because I told you I'm a forex trader. So this chart is a chart of the euro dollar, which is the candlestick, and the orange line, which is S&P. As you can see, pretty much mirror images of each other, right? So this confirms to you what I'm saying, which is that if the stock market is down a lot, or stock futures are down a lot that morning, it's going to be very difficult for euro to rally. And perhaps it'd be greater reason for euro to fall and for me to take the short euro trades than the long euro trades, because there is a very strong historical correlation between how stocks are doing and how currencies are doing. The next thing I'll do is I'll look at what are interest rates doing? What are US yields doing? So I've already checked stocks, then I would check interest rates. If the 10-year treasury yield is down, I'm going to be looking for opportunities to sell dollars. If the 10-year treasury yield is up, I'm going to be looking for opportunities to buy dollars. Because when we have higher interest rates and the yield is increasing, that's going to be good for the dollar. And this is actually, today was a really good example. We started the morning off with the US yields being up. And so that led to a bit of a rally in the dollar yen. But then, as US yields were falling, the dollar started to turn. And US yields is always a leading indicator of the US dollar, as you can see here. The candlesticks is dollar yen. The orange line is 10-year treasury yield. Once again, mirror images of each other, with the orange line more often than not leading the candlesticks. And that says to you that watching what yields are doing not only affects forex, but also affects gold as well as stocks, because this is a chart of gold against the dollar index. And gold is a candlestick. The orange line is the dollar index. If you take a close look, these are basically moving inversely. And they're moving in opposite directions. They're moving in opposite directions because gold is priced in dollars. So if I'm starting my trading day and I see US Treasury yields are up a lot, I see the dollar rallying. This isn't a perfect correlation, but if the dollar is rallying, I am going to be either A, looking for opportunities to sell gold, or B, if my trading setup is telling me to buy gold, I'm not going to take the trade. The third thing I do is I look at what's on the calendar. Is there anything on the calendar that can affect my trade or sabotage my trade? And I'll look in the calendar to, if it's non-farm payrolls day, I'm not going to be trading the US dollar. If that day we have Canadian employment report, I'm not going to be trading the Canadian dollar. So it's always very important to check the calendar to see if there's anything on the calendar that can affect your trade. And then I only look for trades that are in the direction of yields and stocks, and only in the direction of economic data. And only after that do I end up, checking the fundamentals. This is my heat map that I have of just basically the fundamentals of how I feel that we give to BKTraders. And then I check the charts for my technical setup. So, many of you are learning to trade for the very first time. Many of you are just getting, in the swing of things. And if you are trading prop, one of the most important things to know is that if you're trading prop, it's very, very important to be aware of the calendar, because you've got drawdown limits, you've got different consistency rules and things like that. So you don't want to be sidetracked by any fundamentals or news events that could affect your trade. And I personally, this is my fundamental trading plan, but I love to trade with moving averages. And, just as a last tip that I want to share with you before I pass it over to David, this is my moving average roadmap. You're free to take a screenshot. We'll email this to you. I really love trading with moving averages. My own strategy, Zipped, is built on moving averages. But for those of you that are trading moving averages, these are my favorite. 5-day EMA gives you a strong guide of momentum. If it's above the 5-day EMA, it means that the short-term momentum is strong. 10-day EMA is a good checkpoint for short-term price swings, whether it's support or resistance. 20-day EMA is really good to tell you when you have support on a pullback. So if the price pulls back to 20 EMA and bounces off of it, it could be a good support level. Or if it breaks through it, that could be a significant trend shift. 50-day EMA is very important to me. It is a key level used by institutional and swing traders and really determines whether we've moved into the uptrend or a downtrend. The 100-day SMA is a major support and resistance level, and the 200-day SMA is pretty much the line in the sand for bulls and bears. So I will incorporate all of this into my trading every single day after I've gone through my fundamental process. So that's what, I do. And this is how, I stay in sync with, all the prop trading rules and making sure that I only select the highest probability trades, because with prop trading, it's such a great opportunity. You can control a lot of money with very little money, but you also want to make sure that you limit your risk by making sure that you try to pick the highest probability trades. So David, I'm going to pass it on to you if you can share a bit on how you trade.
Absolutely, 100%. Let's see if I can get my screen share up there. Do you guys have to give me permission to do that?
Let me see if we can.
There you go.
Are you taking care of it?
it. Hold on one sec.
But while David is arranging stuff, fun fact, the recent 200-day SMA is such an important SMA for everybody who's an institutional trader, a professional trader. It's a shorthand for the yearly SMA. There's basically 250 trading days in a year, and people use a 200-day as a shorthand of whether we're up or down on a yearly basis. That's the key reason why that's such a big moving average support level.
Yeah. Can everybody see my charts? Give me some ones,
yes.
Everybody.
You are looking good. Is this Think or Swim?
This is Think or Swim. Yes, Think or Swim is my preferred charting program. Yeah. We have a lot of people that use TradingView also. Those are the two that we recommend. When people become part of our family, we have one button that sets up your charts to look exactly like mine are. And as Kathy said, I am a big, almost 90% of all the trades I make are going to be based on my moving averages. Everybody uses different technical analysis. Nobody has the holy grail of technical analysis. And again, as Kathy said, I use this to try to put the odds in my favor on every single trade that we do. I can tell you that over the past, probably, where are we, in August? We are about at 82% on our hit rate for the year, okay, which is pretty good. Doesn't guarantee you're going to be a successful trader, but because I know people who have a 90% hit rate and lose money because they'll make $1,000 9 times in a row and then lose $20,000 on their 10th trade. And I know people who have a 30% hit rate and make money because they're getting much more out of their winning trades than they're losing on their losing trades. So when someone pops up there that they have a 90% hit rate, that doesn't guarantee that they're a profitable trader, okay? The reason I know what my hit rate is, and I guarantee there aren't many people doing this out there, I journal every single trade that I do. Every trade that I do is journaled so that when I go at the end of the week, the end of the month, the end of 2 months, and I go look, I know exactly what my hit rate is. My hit rate tells me how many trades, what the percent of my trades are working versus what isn't working. I want to ask people a question out there, and I need everybody to participate. How many people who are joining us tonight are actively trading in this market? Give me some ones. Actively trading in the market. Everybody pop into one if you're actively trading in the market.
Just say yes in the comments, and we'll.
Or say yes. All right, I'm going to assume we're getting a lot of yeses.
Yeah, we are.
Okay.
We are. People love your chart, by the way, David.
Thank you. All right, let's do this. How many people who are actively trading in the market, and I need a 2, are struggling to figure this out? Give me some 2s. And everybody be honest. Okay? We need people to be honest.
All right,
Fact of the matter is that most people have a difficult time figuring this out. And most of it is all for the same reasons, okay? We all struggle with the same things. We talked about a little bit of it earlier about having stop orders on every single trade that we do. I can tell you that the easier part of trading is this chart that you're looking at, okay? This is the easier part of trading. The hard part is what's here, guys and girls. That is the hard part. People don't fail because they can't read a chart or don't know how to put technical analysis into it. They fail because they don't follow the rules that they're given. We have a strict set of rules. I'm going to go over them very quickly because I want to give you guys as much useful information as I possibly can tonight. I want to talk to you a little bit about technical analysis and the technical analysis that we use, and we don't have a whole lot of time. We touched on this earlier. I'm going to have a stop order on every single trade that I do, okay? I'm going to use a bracket order on every single trade that I do. I am not going to change my stop orders if something starts going against me. I guarantee there are people in this room who are listening to us when it starts getting close to your stop order, I'm going to give it a little more room. And before you know it, you've blown up a trading account. I am also a big believer in taking profits. On most trades that I do, I'm a scalper. Boris, tell everybody scalping's not a dirty word, right?
Scalping is the greatest thing in the world. We're going to talk a little bit about
it is not a dirty word. 100%.
By the way, Peter, I got to say that, I run coaching every week, and this is my coaching. These are people who are advanced, and 70% of people in my room admitted to pulling the stop, admitted to changing the stop. So we actually had a whole session. I was so shocked that we had to stop, and I had to really have an intervention with the group in order to be able to do that. But and I understand it's a constant struggle for everybody, but that is the absolute biggest no-no in the world.
Yeah, and again, what I'm going to talk about in the next 5 or 10 minutes is the reason why people fail at trading, and it's not the charts, okay? I am a big believer in taking profits when I get into a trade. And again, it depends on what kind of trade I'm in. If I'm in a trend trade, I'm going to stay in that all day long. I'm not going to take profits until the trend changes, okay? But if I'm looking just to scalp in and out of a trade, I am looking to make between 2 and 5 points on every single trade that we get in. Just a quick example, okay? When we spike down here to our 200 EMA, and Kathy talked about that, that is our strongest moving average. You can see, everybody, when we hit that, we barely got below it. That was down at like 64.54, and 5 minutes later, it gave us our 3 to 5 point trade. This is what I'm looking to do on most of the trades that I get in. Here, we caught a momentum trade, and the way I catch this is I look for something to hit a certain level more than a few times. Once it gets above that level, whichever direction it's going in, I want to get in the same direction of that trade. So this is a momentum trade that we were able to catch late in the day once we broke above this resistance that we hit several times, and we got our quick 3 to 5 points out of that trade.
David, I can't resist. Are you entering on the close of the candle, or are you entering on the break of that momentum? Because now
I am entering with a market order as soon as it breaks above, and this is my pivot point. This is one of the things we use for technical analysis. As soon as it breaks above this pivot point, I am entering with a market order. My stop order simply goes at the low sale of the bar before that. I was only risking 2 points on this trade. Okay.
Right.
And here's how I execute almost every single trade that I do. I am not a big trader, guys. I am a teacher. I'm going to show you guys my Apex account in a couple of minutes. I trade 2 contracts. And quite frankly, it doesn't matter how many contracts you trade. The way you trade should not change whether you're trading 2 contracts on 1 account, 2 contracts on 20 accounts, or 20 contracts on 20 accounts. It should not change the way we execute our trades. Once I have taken my first profit, which I'm looking to get 2 points at, I am now raising my stop order so I cannot lose money on that trade. Huge mistake that all traders make, okay? They're looking to get more out of a trade than is there. If I'm doing 2 ESs, guys and girls, and I average 3 points on a trade, I have just made $300. If I can average that every day, and this is 1 trade, I'm making $75,000 a year. All right, so it adds up very quickly. And again, we're going to have losing trades, okay? But if we have an 80% hit rate, we're doing pretty good out of the gate, right? So I am a big believer, once I take a profit in a trade, I will never let that turn into a losing trade, okay? So if I only get my 2 points out of the trade and it goes back and stops me out on the rest of my trade, I am on to the next trade. I am looking for my trading setup. I will never make a trade unless my technicals tell me to make a trade. So a lot of people ask me all the time, Dave, how many trades do you have in a day? I don't know. Sometimes I have 2 trades. Sometimes I have 7 trades. Sometimes I have no trades. So how difficult? I have a private trading room where I trade with my traders all day long. We're about 100 strong, not that big. We don't advertise it. We don't put it out there. People come by attrition and they see us and they want to become part of what we do. I post every single trade that I do live in real time with stop orders, profit targets. Again, everybody pushes their own buttons, right? But we are accountable for every single thing that we do. This is another, I'll give you this quick tip because I love this trade also, and Pete can talk more about this, but this is a market on close trade. Every day at about 3:50, we get the final imbalances in the S&P 500, and that's why I'm trading the ESs. And if we look at 3:50 today, that is right here on this bar,
Oh,
This
God.
means it's a buy imbalance in the S&P 500. And when we see this happen, this is another trade, Boris, that I am going to jump into with a market order.
That was the greatest trade today. I was on the NQ of that trade. The market on close trade is just one of the easiest money trades if you can just figure it out.
It is. And the way to figure it out, guys and girls, is when we start going in one direction at 350, just get on the same side of the trade if you can, and try to get on as quickly as possible, right? Because this is, again, a quick scalp. You know, this went up, if we look here, from 64.70 to 64.80. This is a 10-point move, right? I don't care if I capture the whole move or not, but you get a little more aggressive. You start doing well. You start doing a little more contracts, and I'm doing 5 contracts. You know, if I make 3 points on 5 contracts, I'm making $450, $500. Again, nice little trade. So that's another thing, another trading setup that we look to do. I want to share with you guys, if I can, okay, because I am an apex trader, right? And I have to tell everybody here, I do not have a lot of time to trade my apex accounts. I am very busy in my live trading room. We have a boot camp once a month. As a matter of fact, we are in our boot camp right now. That is when I go over our entire course live in real time while we are trading the markets. Can everybody see? Can you see, Boris, my apex?
Yep. We see your apex. You got the wealth charts. You got. By the way,
Right,
you
cool.
can. The way you know that David has a funded account is because he's got a PA in front of it. It's called. If you have a PA, that means it's a funded personal account. That means he has passed the evals. And he's got nice capital in there. He's got 10,000 on the 50,000, 4,000 the other ones. Time to start collecting the payouts.
Yeah.
David.
And I started this when we started our affiliation with Apex, which is about 21 days ago. And you can see over the course of 20 days, it's about $20,000. So that's an average of about $1,000 a day. And again, we have losing trades. We have losing days. It's going to happen. But this is not trading big size, guys and girls, okay? And I have a couple of these accounts connected. I don't like to connect all my accounts because, God forbid, a news event comes out and it skips through your stop order. You can blow up all your trading accounts at once. So I don't like to hook up all of my trading accounts either. But it's slow and steady, guys and girls. It's base hits. It's singles and doubles. It's being consistent. That's what this game is all about. And I just want to talk about a couple more rules. I don't know how much more time I got, but okay.
You have a couple of minutes. It's fine.
All right, good. So stop order on every single trade that you do. And I want to share with you guys real quick all the technicals I use. I use a 9 EMA, a 15 EMA, a 30, a 65, and a 200. Those are all the technicals that I use. And then I have pivot points, and I use relative strength. That's everything that I use. And guys, you can get more information on this when we're done. We're going to send you everything that we do here when we're done. Stop order on every single trade that I do. I do not average into trades, okay? Averaging into trade is buying something at one price, buying more as it goes down, buying more as it goes down. That is a great way to blow up your trading account, whether you're trading stocks, forex, options, I don't care what it is. Doesn't matter. So I do not average into trades. When I find a level to get into my trades, I'm getting it with my full size, whatever that is. I don't average up in a trade when I'm getting into a position and it starts going in my direction, because I'm not going to increase my cost basis by averaging into a trade when it starts going into in my direction. So I don't average into trades. One of the big things, and give me some ones if anybody in this room has done this. How many of us have started out with a nice winning day and turned it into a losing day? How many? Give me some ones. Should be a crap load of ones, I'm going to assume, right? I will never turn a winning trade into a losing trade, and I will never turn a losing day into a winning day. It is the worst feeling in the world. I've done it, okay? We've all done it. You do it on a Friday, it ruins your entire weekend, right?
Friday, by the way, is the single most common day where that happens to me. I don't know if it's true for you. It's amazing how you just give back Friday at the end of the day. It's all because you want that one last dopamine rush for Friday. It always turns out badly.
We have what I call take it easy Fridays. Okay, when we trade on Fridays, especially if we've done well during the week, I tell everybody, let's relax. We might even trade the micros that day, or not trade at all, because I don't want to go into the weekend with a bad feeling. You know what that leads to? You walk in Monday morning and you're going to rush and start doubling your size to get back what you lost. I tell people, and I don't like to trade to have a goal, because I'm going to trade. I don't even look at my P&L when I'm trading. guys and girls. I don't look at my P&L. There's no reason to. I know if I'm making good trades, I'm going to be making some money. And if I'm not, I don't even consider a bad trade when I get stopped out of a trade. It's not a bad trade. That trade didn't work. Okay. It's not a bad trade, especially if I handled it properly. Then it's a good trade, right? But a lot of people trade based on their P&L, and they're staring at that thing every time it goes up to 25 cents or 50 cents. And sometimes it gets them out of their good trades too early, right? We got to make the most we can on our winning trades and lose the least that we can on our losing trades.
So David, can I ask you about that process? Do you just not look at your blotter at all at the beginning of the day? And then do you only look at it once the market closes? Or
no. Yeah, look, the day is broken down into two very succinct time frames, right? We're busy, and I'll open my trading room at 7:30 in the morning. If there's stuff going on that sets up, especially in the futures, I will start trading at 7:30 in the morning. We have our meeting every day, morning meeting every day at 8:30, but I will not look until like 10:30 or 11 o'clock, because that's when the market just really starts slowing down. We start losing volume and everything. So that's when I'll slide my P&L over and I will look, and I'll tell you this. Okay, everyone should have a number in mind that is a good day for you, right? I'm not going to trade to try and hit that, because that's a recipe for disaster also. But if my goal is to make $100 a day, okay, and I'm trading 1 ES, whatever it is, and at 10:30, 11 o'clock, I slide open that P&L and I'm up $120, I am done trading for the day. I make my people leave, because 90% of the time, it's not going to get any better than that. And quite frankly, who cares? That's the bottom line. I don't care. You know, time is the most precious commodity in the world. We are not getting it back. How beautiful it is when I start with my trading with 90 people in the morning, and at 10 o'clock, there's 42 people left. That's what I want to see every single day. It doesn't happen every day, okay? But that's what I want to see. Go do something else, right? Because inevitably what's going to happen, we're going to have that one losing trade. Then we're going to say, okay, let me do one more just to get that losing trade back, and then I'll stop trading for the day. And we end up blowing up our trading accounts, right? So you have to know when to stop trading when you're making money. And by the same token, when you're losing money. For me, if I have 3 maximum loss trades in one day cumulatively, I'm done trading for the day. It was a bad day. I'll come back from a bad day. I'll come back from 2 bad days. I don't think we've ever had 3 losing days in a row, quite frankly, where we had 3 trades that we lost on. But it's going to happen. And what I just talked about, those 5 simple things, remember Peter talked about being a 50% trader, better trader when you walk out of here. And everybody has different technical analysis. That's fine. Use what you're comfortable with. But please have something that works for you on a consistent basis. If you don't, find something that does. Because you're never going to figure this out if you're just sitting there throwing darts on the board, right? You have to have, Boris has a system, Kathy has a system. They make more money on balance than they lose, so we're doing something right, guys and girls, right? So you have to find that system that works for you and follow these strict basic rules, okay? And that's, to me, that's the most important part of trading. We had our boot camp this weekend. We spent 7 hours on Monday. 7 hours on Monday. Not talking about trading in any way, shape, or form. I have a gentleman in my room who's a psychology major. He went on for 3 hours, beating people up and drilling these things into their heads, and how we're not gambling and we're trying to put the odds in our favor every time we make a trade. And that's why we use technical analysis, because that's the most important part of what we do, guys and girls. That is the bottom line. The charts are easy to learn how to do. It takes time, no question about it, okay? And this is another thing that most people don't realize. This is work, guys and girls. We are not a signal service, okay? We don't tell people where to buy and sell things. We want you to learn how to do this on your own, right? I don't believe in signal services. Those people, most of them don't have any skin in the game. They're telling you, buy XYZ if it's above here, short it if it goes below there. It's very easy to do that when you don't have any skin in the game, right? We want to teach you how to be able to do this by yourself. Automated trading, find me one that works. I'll give you $1 million tomorrow to put in it. Please find me one that can pick the exact spots to buy and sell stocks. I see people selling that for $49.99 on TikTok and on the internet, right? They're automated trading systems. If someone had something that actually worked, you think they'd be selling it for $49 on the internet? I don't think so. So, take these few things that we talked about. Guys, we have a lot more to talk about. I just want to mention one thing, because with WSGTA.com, we have a course that we just finished doing a new futures course. It is 7 hours long, and it's all about futures. We have stocks in there. We have options in there. We give lifetime mentorship to anyone who becomes part of our family, and we do live mentoring meetings, me and Peter, every Thursday night. But you guys will get more information on that. So if you take anything else from me tonight in my presentation, follow the rules. That's the most important part of trading by far.
Well, I think we've taken a lot, because David's talked for 20, 25 minutes, and there are at least 4 things that I think all of you should take away that, should have made your time today valuable, which is number 1, I did not know this, but, the end of day trend trade, the last 7 minutes, I think you said, whatever's happening before, just go with the direction. And there's a very high probability chance in the last 7 minutes that the stock market's open, you're going to get that same continuation move. Number 2, David talked about base hits. Now, this whole session is about insider tips from the trading floor. And all of us, David, Boris, myself, Peter, we don't really talk about it too much, but base hits is basically what we do. It's not about the huge winners that you get, once every couple months. It's about consistency. It's about small wins that you can accrue on a day-to-day basis and build up your portfolio for that. And that is so important when you want to do prop trading with a firm like Apex, because they value consistency. They want to fund traders who are able to make profits day in and day out, and not the one-hit wonders. And so, from their perspective, from our perspective as traders who've been in the markets for decades, we truly believe that the way to not only survive but thrive is through base hits. The third thing that David said, I think it's absolutely true, is if you've got 3 losing trades in a row, stop trading. I mean, that means that you're just not in sync with the market. Stop. It's actually a rule that I have for myself as well. And I was actually really surprised, David, because I share also your rule, which is that I don't trade Friday mornings. If I made money, I'm not trading Friday mornings. I'm done. We're going to keep our the pips and the points that we make, and then we're just going to move on. So the fact that there's a consistency in what we all do should be valuable nuggets that you should take away and write down, because this comes from our decades of experience.
Yeah, and guys,
I'll add one thing to that. Sorry, Dave. I was going to add one thing to that as far as stopping at 3 trades. In our room, we do something really interesting that is a variant of this. By the way, I also don't trade Fridays. I don't, on YouTube, because it's generally a bad day. We only trade privately on Fridays. If we get a bad trade, we switch accounts. But the great thing about Apex, we have multiple accounts. That's what they're there for. They give you the opportunity. It's an incredible opportunity with prop. I'll talk to you a little bit about it in just a second. But that is a trick that absolutely helps you reset yourself. Don't try to beat up the same account, but don't try to strangle that account into profit. Move on. It's going to be a much healthier relationship if you do that.
Yeah, and the reason we want everybody trading props is the low barrier to entry. I mean, most of the time with Apex, we have an 80 or 90% off, right? So it's costing us $33 or $16 to open up an account. So what Boris is saying is so true. All right, I had a bad trade in one account. Let's go to another account that cost me $16. It's okay to do that, right? And I can tell you this, guys and girls, you see a lot of people posting on, I won't mention anybody's specific names, on Twitter, on TikTok, on any of these things that are posting these astronomical numbers, okay, that you see. Trading 20 accounts, I made $160,000 today, whatever it is. I guarantee you, for every person that you see doing that, there are 1,000 people that are struggling. And all that does is create FOMO to me. That's all that does, because people see these big numbers being, first of all, and I'm not saying this to scare anybody, okay? 9 out of 10 people who try to do this fail. And it's for the reasons we just talked about, right? It's not technicals or anything else. It's for the reasons that we just talked about. And I'll end with this. This is work also, guys, all right? This is work. So I always tell people who buy our course and become part of our family, you got to help me, okay? You have a 15-hour course at your fingertips. You got to look at it. You got to go through your own process, but it's work. This is not easy money, okay? It's not. Can we do this? Can you figure out a way to do this and put some money in your pockets? Absolutely. No question about it. But you have to put in the time. You can't expect someone to just show up and say, hey, buy this here and short this here and make money. It just doesn't work that way. And one more thing, and I'm done. Be kind to yourselves if you're just starting this. Be kind to yourself if you're struggling with this. It's something that takes time. Don't give up on it, especially with the opportunity we have with Apex to open up these accounts. Just the wealth of knowledge that you have here in this room with Kathy and Peter and me and Boris. You guys can reach out to me anytime. I mean, we'll give you my personal email. I'm sure Boris and Kathy and Pete were happy to do the same. We don't care if you become part of our family at night or not. I just want to help as many people as I possibly can figure out how to do this. I love this game. I haven't had to do this since the end of 1999. Okay, this is not about money for me. I love being in this game every single day, and I love being able. The best, my reward in this is when I get emails from people, and we get plenty of them. Thank you so much, Dave. I was driving a truck making $32 an hour, right? And I traded for 2 hours today, and I made $250. That's more than I ever made in a day driving a truck. Single mothers who are struggling, Dave, I was able to make $500 this week. That's my reward in doing this, and that's what gets my motorboat, and I'm sure it is with you guys too. That's my satisfaction in this. I love it. I will never stop doing this. Hopefully, when I go, it's going to be me sitting right here. You're going to see my face like this. And I'm going to go.
David and I are both going to go in front of the screen. My kids always joke about that that when I'm 80, they're going to create false screens for me because I'll be in Alzheimer's land and I won't even know what's going on.
We'll probably trade better then.
We'll probably trade better.
I think it's a good time to pass it over to Boris, who's going to share about his trading.
Okay. Yes. Let's make me. Are you giving me the screen, Kay? Or?
I just did. I believe I did.
Okay. Let me share my screen. 2, 3. Okay. Cool. You should be able to see my screen now. There we go. Okay, cool. All right, you guys be able to see. So I'm not going to take too much of your time. We've talked a lot about all of the stuff that everybody has discussed, but I want to walk you through about the prop trading opportunity because that's really what we were talking about here today. We talked a lot about the markets and how the markets have really changed, and they've all changed to this particular point, the point of everybody having access to the market for very little price. And that's the really beautiful thing about prop. And let's talk a little bit about what prop trading is all about. It's basically the ability to trade real market prices, real market instruments in real time for infinitesimally small amounts of money without ever risking your own capital, right? If you're trading index futures like all of us do, like if you're trading NASDAQ, if you're trading S&P, in your own account, there is absolutely no way you could make any kind of an impact on your financial wealth with less than $5,000 or $10,000. And the truth of the matter is, you could lose that $5,000 to $10,000 in 1 week, sometimes in 1 day, if you don't know what you're doing. And the beautiful thing about prop trading is that you couldn't begin to burn $5,000 in a year on prop trading fees and still be able to enjoy and take advantage of the market. It's an incredible difference. So the prop trading cycle is very simple. You trade a demo, you pass the challenge, and then you get funded. And then you begin to trade on actual real payout capital. The things that people trade is basically stock index futures like the S&P, ES, NASDAQ, NQ, Dow. We've been trading a lot of Dow in my room lately. It's actually a really, really good scalping instrument. I'm quite happy to show you how we do that. And gold. Everybody trades, of course, gold because gold is a really, really hot product now too. Some people trade oil, but oil has been kind of a very dormant product for a while. If oil starts to pick up, that's definitely going to be a great product to trade. The basic idea of how you pass the test is, and I'm going to give you the classic example of Apex's $50,000 account because that's the account that almost everybody trades. It's the best account if you are a starting trader. It has the best risk reward parameters. You have to make 3,000 and you are allowed to have a $2,500 drawdown. So it's almost a 1-to-1 risk reward ratio. When you get up to more expensive accounts, your risk reward ratio becomes skewed against you. You got to make twice as much money while risking half as much money. So this is a sort of an even risk proposal, which is why everybody loves to trade the 50,000 account. It has a trailing equity, meaning that, you know, if you get up to 52,000, your stop moves up to 49,500. So it kind of moves with you. A lot of people really have a hard time dealing with that rule, and we obviously specialize in making sure that almost everybody can pass that rule all the time because of the way we trade. One of the reasons why we trade on a short-term basis is because we never. One of the key things that people sort of have a problem with is they'll be in a trade, the trade runs 100 points, then it goes 50 points against them, then it tries to run 100 points. Those kind of propositions are just not going to work on short-term day trading that's prop oriented, because what they want you to do is they want you to take the profit at the peak, and if you start to retrace, it's going to be a punishment based upon the trailing equity position. Because and I understand some of you people might think that's a little bit unfair, but it's not the point. The point is that they're looking to have people who have enormous respect for risk. You know what David said? That was like the single most professional thing. I knew that's how you know the guy's been a market maker forever. He says he never lets a profit become a loss. That's what a trader is. An investor lets a profit becomes a loss. A trader never lets that happen. And if you want to be a prop trader, that's one of the great rules that you need to have. That's why we scalp. We never have a problem with trailing equity, because we're always selling at the peak of our profit, because we're taking, you know, small defined profits. Then the last cool thing about Apex, the really cool thing, is if you get funded and you get into payout territory, the first, not the first 5,000, not the first 10,000, not the first 20,000, but the first $25,000 of profits. That's like probably half a year of profits for many, many people. 100% yours. Apex has paid out $500 million in payout fees over its lifetime. It's actually paid out more. I had a chance to speak to the executives, but the official figure is about $500 million, which is just an insane amount of money if you think about this, and how much money they've paid out, especially for what it costs you. And this is what I wanted to show you. It's $33 to get a $25,000 account, $50,000 account, $59 for $100,000, and $100 for a $250,000 account. Now, this is a funding account. This is an account that you're going to be able to trade. But if you pass the test, you are then funded with $250,000 notional account, and then you're able to trade that, which is really, really cool. But the reason, of course, that it's very, very popular is three things. It's not your money, it's not your money, it's not your money. I can't tell you how much of a psychological stress relief it is to blow an account and know that you haven't lost your mortgage payment, right? I mean, it's a terrible, terrible analysis, but let's all be honest. You know, we all blow accounts. Sometimes the market goes against you, sometimes you lose your emotions, sometimes a million different things happen. The idea that, you know, it's like waking up from a dream, right? It's just a dream. It's not reality. That is the greatest thing about trading prop. That's why it's become the next cool thing in trading. And then, of course, if you're succeeding, you actually get real money on a payout basis, which, as I said, really, really cool, especially the fact they give you $25,000 straight for you. And then finally, you know, it's, to me, the single best way to learn. You know, people that say, oh, you should trade a demo account, you know, to learn. You are never, ever going to learn anything from trading a demo account. You know why? Because there's nothing on the line. There's nothing on the line. You know, I trade, you know, some demo accounts when I'm testing forex strategies. It's a completely different feeling. When you're trading prop, it's the exact same feeling as trading your own real money. So you are engaged, you're involved, you are like the pilot in a flight simulator. I have become a million times better trader on my own account after working so hard on getting everybody to pass the prop. And this is what we specialize in. We, you know, only 5% of all people who take the prop exam, less than what the Ivy League university advantage is, or passing rate is, pass the tests. We make sure that 70% of everybody who trades with us passes their test. I just pulled, like, these are certificates I just pulled. I got bored with pulling all my certificates, so I just pulled just some of mine. But it really doesn't matter how many tests I've passed and how much Apex accounts I have, because what really matters is, can I help you pass yours? And these are just some of the people that have passed the test with me. And you can see these guys, a lot of these guys trade a lot better than me. I mean, Sandy just did a $300,000 funding. Stephen did a $50,000. William just got a $3,000 payout. You see, all of these guys have been super, super good. I am very happy when everybody in my room makes a ton more money than I do, because my job is to come up with the ideas to help you get there, and then help you achieve. I mean, if it was up to me, everybody knows. If Kay knows that, if it was up to me, I'd be sitting on the screen completely like a little hermit trading all day long. But I don't get a chance to do that. But giving you the tools to do that, because I design all these tools and I test them really, really hard, and we create beautiful looking trading view tools. All of that just makes my heart glow. I've never felt more satisfied in my life as I have over the last 2 years since we started doing the Apex population, because these are the kind of responses I get. These are the kind of comments I get, completely unsolicited. I never ask anybody to, I literally get, people noticing. This is us in my chat room with my indicator, which, by the way, we do live every day on YouTube. All you got to do is go YouTube BK Forex. Tomorrow is Marathon Wednesday. You want to join me? 8 o'clock in the morning, New York. We're going to go 4 hours hardcore. You get to see exactly how I trade. If you have sensitive ears and you don't like cursing, don't come to my room. Okay, it's a New York room. I curse like a sailor, but we have a great time, and we absolutely show you. But one thing I guarantee you, you will see at least 10, maybe even 15 trade setups from me tomorrow. I do not fool around. I take trades. I show you exactly what I'm about to take, when I'm about to do it, how I'm about to do it. You see all of it live. I'm absolutely naked. There is nothing I hide from you. You'll see my wins, my losses. That's why I curse a lot. But you see, everything is fun. And this is just comments from traders in my room that I do not ask for. People really, really just enjoy the experience. So here's what I want you to do. We are here for one thing only, because we got 1 day left. If you've never, ever, ever traded prop, just get yourself the prop accounts right now, because tomorrow they're all going to go in huge amount of price increases, absolutely unnecessary. Because the great thing about getting these prop accounts is you don't have to start tomorrow. You buy them, you can hold them for a day, you can hold them for a week, you can come hang out with me, you can see what I do. But if you have them at these cheap prices, you basically can then inventory them and trade them at your own leisure as you go forward. The other good thing is, for those of you who have been, seasoned prop traders and have traded quite a lot, you know that you need fresh accounts all the time. We all need fresh accounts all the time. And if you don't get the prices right now, you're going to be just killing yourself tomorrow, because you're like, God damn, and now I'm going to pay $100 for the same account. 37.4. Buy 3, buy 4, buy 5. My general rule is always get at least 5. Sit in the background. You're going to use them for new strategies, new ideas, blown accounts, or psychological changes. I said, I traded this strategy in this account. I hit a loss. I want to go to this account and trade the same thing. There's nothing better than trading 2 accounts on the same strategy and switching around once you hit losses, because what happens is they both grow exponentially up, because you're not beating one account to death. Now, Kathy just told me that she has emailed to every one of you. So check your email, make sure it's not sitting in spam. If it's coming from us, go find it. BKTraders, the offer, so that you can go out there, hit that link before the discount goes away, and just inventory the accounts. And then come into my room tomorrow. Come hang out with me if you want to. Come hang out with David. We'll send you all the information, and learn, have fun, enjoy, and basically have a wonderful, wonderful time. But that is not all. I'm really, really glad that you guys stayed here to the end, because David, Peter, Kathy, and I are really, 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 really jonesing to meet you guys in person. And to that effect, we really want to do a live event because there is no substitute to showing you in person the strategies we trade, right? I don't know about you, but I know that if I'm sitting next to a person and they're describing it to me in real time, and I can actually see them trading on the screen, and I can spend a whole day or day and a half with them learning the techniques, my knowledge is 1,000 times more powerful than even if I'm trading, live on YouTube or I'm trading virtual. There's just nothing like human contact. We want to come hang out with you, and there's no better place in the world than Boca Raton in October. We really, really want to do an event in October. So if you're in Florida, Debbie, it's wonderful. Come see us. If you're not in Florida, it's literally the greatest weekend you can possibly imagine. A beautiful place. Weather is amazing. We know my son lives in Boca. David lives in Boca. We love the place. I guarantee you, I will show you the single greatest pancake house in the world if you come to this event. But and David probably knows what it is. But it's a wonderful place, and we're going to get together. We're going to spend a whole day, day and a half maybe, learning the techniques, talking about all these things in much greater detail, having private conversations, just really, really enjoying ourselves, and trading live. As we all know, it's not real unless it's live, and both David and I trade live. We're going to show you exactly step by step what we're doing on a daily basis. We're going to do this probably like on a Thursday, Friday into Boca Raton. So if you're interested, we only can do this if you guys are interested. So if you give us an inclination that you want to come join, if you want to, for the first time, we started this conversation talking about COVID, how we were all locked down. We never had any human contact. I think it's time to come back to have some human contact. It's wonderful to have everybody here on the webinar, but it's really, really better to have some human contact. I'd love to see a couple hundred of you guys with us at an event in Boca. If we can do this, it'd be wonderful. So let us know. Scan that on the QR code and say, yeah, I'm interested. And then if we can do that, then we can convince Apex to really do a great show for you guys in Boca. So come join us there.
All right, I'd like to invite Peter back in. Peter, are you online? Let's see if Peter's online.
Okay. Kath, can I have something that I'd like to
yeah, absolutely.
I know we have a couple of giveaways we're going to do, I think, but here's what I'd like to do, Kath. If you could just post my email, dgreen927@yahoo.com. I will invite everybody who is here, everybody. Send me an email. I will give you a link to my live trading room next week, and you can come hang out with me for the entire week. No charge. Don't expect anything from anybody. Send me an email, and you guys can come hang out with me next week. We'll do a mini boot camp. We'll do a lot of lessons. We'll trade the markets live, and you can hang out with me for the entire week.
Okay.
Those things attached.
I've posted it into the questions box. I've sent it to all of you. What we're going to do is we're going to send you also all of this via email over the next couple of days. David's going to get everyone's email address, and he can send you the invite as well. I sent it to you over the chat. You should already have in your inbox the 80% off discount. As Boris said, it's only good for one more day, so make sure you lock those in. And if you're interested in joining us in Boca, it's going to be an incredible event. Let us know that you're available and interested. Put your phone in front of that QR code and let us know that you're interested, and we'll try to get Apex to put together this event for all of us.
I see a lot of guys in comments really excited about this, but please be sure to put that into the QR code, because the comments don't count, but the QR code does, and then we can really gauge if we can really do this. I'd love to do this. We really want to make it happen.
All right,
one side comment here from Craig. He's asking me, the 100 and the 150K cost the same in Apex. Why not go for the 150K? The answer is just that the risk reward is going to be a little bit worse. You're going to have to make a little bit more money for 150K than you would for 100K. That's all. If you want to go for the bigger money, be my guest. There's no difference. But just with every single thing, make sure you understand the risk rewards. As I said, I think David's going to agree with me. See, David's got 50s. We're all like all the pros are trading. I'm actually trading a lot of 25s too, but 50s is the sweet spot. You can go for the large ones. Go for it. Don't don't let me dissuade you. You see half my people in my room love to go for the large ones. But if you're just starting out, go for the 50s. That's the best account. Nail like 4 or 5 of them right now, and then you're going to be very, very happy a week from now when you're trading with me and you have all that flexibility to be able to trade all those accounts.
Can you put that 80% off QR code up again, Boris?
Sure.
Yeah, I was just going to say, can you guys post your code again so everybody has it when they go sign up for the accounts? There you go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got so excited about both.
Put your computer, put your phone to that QR code to get take advantage of the 80% off Apex. The code to use is BKSAVE. And once again, you should all have it in your inboxes. It may have fallen into spam or your promotions folder, so check there. But I already have it in my inbox, so make sure you look for that code there.
Right.
And Boris, will that code always default to the best sale, right?
That code will always have a sale. It'll always give you, right. It'll always give you the highest possible discount ever. Yes. Yes. And the other good thing is the indicators that we trade with, the key things, the tools that we make, they're both on wealth charts and on TradeAvate. So you can choose either one of the accounts. You will get the indicator. So don't worry about it. You don't have to make any kind of trade-offs here. We cover all the platforms.
All right, fantastic. It's been a long night. We thank all of you for joining us for almost 2 hours. And thanks for your patience through the technical difficulties for those of you who are on YouTube, X, on this GoToMeeting. Apex, this right now, 80% off is only good for another day. I don't know if they're going to do a Labor Day sale. They do it as, it's always a surprise to us, but this is a great deal.
This is a great deal, and it's going to go away. And I'm telling you, you're gonna just hate yourself if you don't take it down, because you're just going to pay unnecessary. It's like an airplane ticket that you could have had for $200, then you still got to go fly. It's going to cost you $500. It's the same seat. Just go get it now. And then you'll be able to have a great flight.
Carol, if you haven't gotten it yet, just scan the QR code, use the BKSAVE. Check your promotions box. It's gone out to everyone already, but sometimes it goes into spam or promotions. Right.
Equities are trading up in Asia. We're still a positive trend. Everybody want to join me tomorrow at 8 o'clock in the morning. It's YouTube BK Forex. That's our YouTube channel. Just hit the live. Everybody's welcome. Come on in. We'll have a great time.
Hey guys, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes. Talk to us.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we hear you.
Yes, we got you.
So anyway, listen, before anybody leaves, let me give a wrap up of what we just experienced here for 2 hours and for an hour and 45 minutes, right? It's really important for you to understand where we're all coming from and what the opportunities are that we just laid out to you, right? You have Kathy, who laid out fundamental analysis talking about Forex and how important it is to really understand what's going on around the world. And that's what she uses to trade the market. Amazing. And that's something that's different than the other 3 of us. And it's really extraordinary because it's for years and years, that was really what anybody did to learn how to trade this market. So Kathy does it better than anybody. Just so you all know, Kathy was probably the youngest trader in history. At the age of 6, she was like running Morgan Stanley. Nobody really knows that. The CEO, the first youngest woman in history to run Morgan Stanley. Anyway, all that being said, then you've got Boris, who's also has created an amazing course helping people get qualified to do the Apex thing. We are all working with Apex because they offer accessibility and funding. And then you've got David Green, as I said to you guys. David Green started on Wall Street as a runner, quickly fast-tracked to becoming a market maker in some of the biggest stocks out there, retired at the age of 39, went on to learn how to trade, has been teaching people to trade in his private trading room for years. COVID came along, and I've been on the floor since 1985, and I've been trading risk arb, S&P. I built a straight trading strategy around the S&P 500. I do the market on closed trade, and then David and I started Wall Street Global Trading Academy during the time of COVID because we knew that everybody, 40, 50 million people are going to be coming into this market, and they're going to be trading on FOMO, hype, and hope, and they're all going to blow up their accounts because we know, by definition, a day trader, 85% plus, will blow up their accounts and run and hide and never come back. Fortunately, you all have come back. Many of you gotten your butt beat way back during COVID, and now you're back for another round, and we don't want that to ever happen again. So that's a recap of what you just listened to. But what I really want you to understand, so many different things. Boris has an amazing opportunity to show you and help you get qualified on Apex, right? That's huge. And Kathy will help you in any way possible to learn how to trade, trading forex and trading gold and trading some other things using fundamental analysis. And David Green is going to teach you, just to wrap up, David's five secrets of successful day trading are so simple, but they will make you be a 50% better trader. Have a target amount of money you want to make in your day. 100-share trader, make $100. 1,000-share trader, make $1,000. When you hit your goal, turn the machine off and go home. It's the best it's going to get. Do not overtrade. The biggest mistake people make is they think they've got diamond hands, they overtrade, and they give back what they made. Secondly, have a stop order on every trade you do. Never move your stop order unless it's a bracket order. Never turn a winning trade into a losing trade. Never turn a winning day into a losing day. Trade day. And secondly, know when to stop trading when you're making money, and know when to stop trading when you're losing money. Know that when you get in a trade, you want to start taking profits immediately. There's nothing better than move your stop up to break even. There's nothing better than that feeling, having made a little bit of money and you cannot lose money on the trade. That's the greatest feeling in the world. And then know not to when to stop trading when you're losing money. 3 max loss trades, turn the machine off, go to the beach, go have a Coca Loco, wake and bake, do whatever you're going to do. But do not revenge trade. There are 5 things that people do who are unsuccessful. They don't have a stop. They don't have a plan. They'll turn a winning trade into a losing trade, winning day into a losing trade, and they will revenge trade. That is an unsuccessful trader. A successful trader will have a plan, will have a stop order, and never do the things I talked to you about. We at Wall Street Global Trading Academy, we have an amazing course. David and I spent 6 months building because we knew that there was an educational component missing from the millions and millions of people who now were suddenly had access to the market. I beg of you all, come and check it out. Go and join David's trading room. You're talking about, he just offered you, which is, it used to be a thousands of dollar experience, okay, to come and join in David's room. Check out our course. You can watch webinars that we've done in the past, teaching technical analysis, risk management, money management, language of the stock market, psychology of trading, the 5 technical trades that David does. We have people who will help you set up your charts for you. We coach and mentor. There's no one in the industry, first of all, with the experience of me and David Green, no one teaching this market who has 40, except closely Boris, who has 40 years experience in the marketplace, who coach and mentor anybody in this world. Coaching, mentoring, boot camp, our course, 21 videos, 21 hours. For every Q&A that we've done for 5 years is recorded and sorted by subject in the archives, 400 hours of archives. So I beg you all, go check out WSGTA.com. There are webinars on the site. You can listen and see what we do. The course is affordable, accessible, and fun. We coach and mentor all of you. Each one of us brings something special to the table. We don't cannibalize each other in any way. We are, as a team, incredible. You can learn something different from all of us. So I beg of you, go check out Boris, go check out Kathy. Please come and check out Wall Street Global Trading Academy. It is accessible, affordable, and fun. You get coached and mentored. We have a VIP concierge service that will give you access. We will help you set up your charts. If you want to learn to trade and you're done sitting back, if you're a retail trader struggling, even somebody who's been doing this for a while and you just can't get it, or somebody who doesn't have the 25 grand for a day trading account, we all work with Apex. Apex Trader Funding. Infinite possibilities. They are all 4 of us, preferred futures trading platform. They offer accessibility and funding. So I beg of you to all come and check out each one of our educational components. Check out Apex, open up an account there, come and check out Wall Street Global Trading Academy. If you want to learn to trade, you've got it right here at your fingertips. And above all, we would love you all to come and see us in person. You can see me. Look, this is the energy I bring to the table. You can't see my face. Surely frustrating for me, but I can virtually come through the phone at this point, not being able to be seen. But I beg of you all, come to Boca, come and see the 4 of us on stage, watch us trade the market, see the energy we bring and the passion for what we do. For us, every day, all 4 of us, every day is being in the Super Bowl. Forget Tom Brady. Forget Emerson friggin' Boozer, and come check us out in Boca in October. See us live talking about our biggest passion, day trading this market, trading the futures, educating, motivating, and inspiring you all. Check us out. We love you all, and thanks for coming.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you, everyone. I look forward to the emails we'll be sending you from David, Peter, ourselves, and they'll include all the information that all of you are asking for. And we hopefully will see you in Boca.
Yeah, don't forget.
Boca.
Yeah, anyone who comes to Boca, Boris is treating everyone to pancakes.
No.
I'll tell you what, Boris, I'll split it with you. Boris, I'll split it with you. All good. I'll split it with you.
It's called Breakfast at Boris's. It's like an old movie with George Papard.
I'm sorry. No, it's actually absolutely. We'll have a great time. I'm telling you, you guys will love it. It's a beautiful place. It's a vacation or it's a business trip for all of you who want to do it, and it's just a great opportunity to meet all of us in person, get a chance to really get to understand how this stuff works on a one-to-one basis. So I'd love to see you guys.
You know what? I'm going to offer one more thing, Boris. Anybody who comes and shows up at the Boca event, you can come. Now, you've got to show up at the Boca event and buy a ticket. I will give you access to an opening bell with me on the floor of the stock exchange. How's that? That will be our biggest offer. If you show up in Boca and you give us your email and you show up and you buy a ticket and come hang out with us in person, after the event, you can come and hang out with me for an opening bell on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange, which is not open to the public. It is strictly private. I will offer that to you as our final giveaway of the night. Okay?
We were on the New York Stock Exchange hanging out with Peter a couple of weeks ago, and it's really cool. It's a lot of fun to get.
Pete,
What an incredible trip.
Also, guys, Peter also opens anyone who buys our course a free trip to the stock exchange also.
That's correct. Absolutely.
There you go.
100%.
Can you put the Boca QR code up one last time?
Yeah,
and so this QR code for Boca is just to show us you're interested. And then, we're going to put together the event. We'll try to convince Apex to help us put together, and then we'll send you all of the details. So just let us know that you're available. This is a realistic trip for you. You're not flying from, around the world, and, you just want to get information. Let us know that you're truly interested and you're available, and we will work to put this together.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Thank you, man. Killed it. We did a 2-hour event here, totally for free here. So hope you guys really enjoyed it. Everybody, I'll see you guys on YouTube if you want to see me tomorrow. David is going to see everybody in Trade Room. We're going to do more of this stuff coming to you. Hope you guys really enjoyed it. It was definitely a lot of fun for us.
Thank you.
All the best. Right. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys. Peace and love.
Peace out.
Cheers.